everybody, it's Becky with Life Keys Energy. Thank you for joining me today. So for today's flow, you're going to need a block or a big book and a strap. So let's go ahead and come into Sukhasana, heels in line with the groin. Bring the hands to the knees. Starting to rock side to side, feeling the sit bones connect to the earth beneath you. Coming into just a little bit of stillness here. Bringing the shoulders up to the ears. Waterfall the shoulder blades down the back. And start to imagine there's a string on the top of your head pulling you just a little bit taller. Taking the next 2 or 3 breaths, start to notice where the breath wants to go today. Notice where it doesn't. Shanti, you're not helping, dude. See if maybe you can draw that air just a little bit lower into the belly. If you're feeling like you'd like more grounding energy today, maybe those palms are going to face down. If you're feeling more open and receptive, maybe those palms are going to face up. Yogi's choice. And opening up today's practice with 3 cleansing breaths. So taking a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale forcefully out through the mouth like you're fogging up a mirror. 2 more. Last one. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath at full. Exhale out through the mouth like you're breathing through a straw for a 7 count. Inhale 5. Hold 3. Exhale 7. Inhale 5. Hold 3. Exhale 7. 3 more, just like that. After your last 5-3-7 breath, come back to deep yogic breathing. And bring in the hands to Anjali Heart Center. Press the thumbs into the sternum and take just a moment to set a sankalpa or an intent for today's practice. Exhale, release the hands to the knees, drop the chin to the chest. Inhale the ear to one shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, ear to opposite shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Continue with this. Let your breath start to carry you. When the ear finds one shoulder, go ahead and leave it there. Bring that same arm up and over, adding just a little bit of pressure. Walk the opposite hand away from the body, lengthening the scalenes. Taking some deep breaths here. And walking the hand away from the body just a little bit more. Inhale, lift up, switching sides. Bring the ear to the opposite shoulder. Bring that same arm up and over. And walk the opposite hand away from the body, lengthening those scalenes. Inhale, lift up, coming back to center. Or bring our chin over to the shoulder and lift the chin up towards the ceiling for a move I've nicknamed the Snooty Yogi. Inhale, come back to center, switching sides, drawing the chin to the opposite shoulder. Lift the chin up towards the ceiling, Snooty Yogi, other side. Exhale, come back to center. Or lift that thumb up towards the ceiling. Bring it right between the shoulder blades any way that it gets there. Drop that ear to the opposite shoulder, lengthen these scalenes, taking some deep breaths here. Inhale, lift up, switching sides. Bring the thumb up towards the ceiling. Bring it right between the shoulder blades any way that it gets there. Drop the ear to the opposite shoulder. Inhale, lift up. Bringing the hands to the knees. We're going to exhale the heart space forward. Inhale, start to make some great big soupy circles, warming up the spine. And when you get to the back of a soupy circle, switch directions. Slowly start to tighten up your circles, coming back to stillness. From Sukhasana, we're going to inhale, circle sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Plug the spidey fingers into the ground. Oh, Shanti, good grief. Taking some deep breaths here, really root down those sit bones. Walking the hands over to one side, lengthening the side body. Both sit bones are still glued to the earth beneath you. Walking the hands to the opposite side. Coming back to center, we're going to drag the fingertips on the ground, come up to a seated position. From the seated position, we're going to circle sweep the arms back overhead. Twist to one side, drishti, your gaze follows that back shoulder. Lift up a little taller. Exhale, twist just a little deeper. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist opposite side. Drishti follows that back shoulder. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist just a little deeper. Exhale, unwind, come back to center. We're gonna do that all over on the opposite side. So taking that foot that's in back, bringing it up front. Circle, sweep the arms up overhead, upward salute. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, plug the fingers into the ground and sink the sit bones back behind you. Walking both hands over to one side, lengthening the side body. And walking the hands to the opposite side, lengthening the side body. Coming back to center, we're going to drag the fingertips on the ground, coming up to a seated position. Circle, sweep the arms up overhead again. Exhale, twist to one side, drishti follows that back shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist opposite side, drishti follows that back shoulder. Shanti, stop. Exhale, unwind, come back to center. We're going to interlace the fingers and push the palms away at shoulder height. Round the back and look down at the belly. Find that stretch through the wings. Inhale, lift up, push the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling. Maybe bring the shoulder blades down the back just a little bit. We're going to lean to the side. Both sit bones are still anchored firmly to the ground beneath you. Inhale, come back to center, switching sides. Coming back to center, release the arms, rolling out the shoulder blades. We're going to come into 5 rounds of joyous breath here. So you're going to open the arms out wide like a T and then tuck the elbows in behind you, palms face up. Open up the chest, tip back and take a deep breath in here. Really expand. Now exhale, give yourself a great big bear hug as you round the back like in cow. Inhale, lift up, deep breath, elbows tuck in behind you. Exhale, round the back, give yourself a great big bear hug in the opposite direction here. So that's 1 round. We're going to do 4 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hug. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hug. 2 more. Last one. Coming back to center, rolling out those shoulders. Reaching the arm across the body, find your opposite knee. Do your best beauty queen pose. We're going to draw that shoulder down towards the free knee as the elbow comes up towards the ceiling. Both sit bones are glued to the earth. Deep breaths here. Inhale, lift up, switching sides, reach for the opposite knee, do your best, beauty queen pose. Draw the shoulder down towards the knee, elbow comes up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lift. We're gonna reach for our straps. If you do not have a yoga strap at home, you can use a belt or a scarf or even a towel rolled up, just anything that you can pull on and create some tension. So I like to fold the yoga straps in half. They make them a little bit more manageable. We're gonna bring the hands out wider than shoulder width and roll the shoulder blades down the back. Awesome. Now pull the hands apart, create tension on your strap. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, lower down. 2 more, inhale, lift. Create that tension on the strap. Pause at the top. Exhale, lower down. Last one, inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Bring the strap back overhead. This time with both sit bones glued to the earth, you're going to take that bottom hand and pull down with it as you take your wing, your scapula, and you push it up towards the sky. Find the lengthening in the side body here. Breathe in. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, switch opposite side, pull down with that opposite hand. Bring the wing back up towards the sky. Breathe in here. Inhale, come back to center, release the strap for just a second. Roll it up. We're gonna roll over our shins and come into tabletop. We won't be getting very high in today's flow, so we won't be getting up and getting super sweaty. But we're gonna start to warm up that spine and the shoulders just a little bit more. Round the back, look down at the belly for cat. Sink the belly, tip the head up, cow. A few more, let your breath start to carry you here. And then coming into cat, holding cat for 3 deep breaths. Really round that back in angry cat arch here. And sink the belly, tip the head up, cow. 3 deep breaths. Coming back to a neutral spine. We're gonna inhale one arm up towards the sky. Your supporting arm, the arm that's on the ground, you'll want your hand directly underneath your shoulder to support the shoulder. Push the floor away as you lift up through those fingertips, find that space. Exhale, thread that arm through, place the shoulder and temple onto the ground. Hips stay high in this pose. The hand that's under your shoulder right now, creepy crawl it to the top of the mat and pull those hips back just a little bit. Thread the needle. Taking some deep breaths here. Taking that hand at the top of the mat. If you're super comfortable, go ahead and stay just like this. But if you'd like to go a little deeper, take the hand at the top of the mat, bring it back behind you. Flip the palms so the palms facing the ceiling and place the back of the hand on the opposite hip. Maybe adding a little bit of a twist here and opening that heart space up towards the sky. I said maybe. Taking some deep breaths here. Exhale, unwind, bring the hand back underneath your shoulder. Push yourself back up into tabletop. Switching sides. Inhale the I just did that side. Inhale the opposite arm up. Push the floor away, lift up through those fingertips. Exhale, thread that arm through, place the shoulder and temple onto the ground, and creepy crawl that hand to the top of the mat. Taking that hand at the top of the mat, you might leave it there or you might bring it back behind you. Flip the palm so it's facing the ceiling and place the back of the hand on the opposite hip, opening that heart space up towards the sky. Exhale, unwind, bring the hand back underneath the shoulder. Push yourself back up into tabletop. From tabletop, we're gonna bring the shins out a little bit wider. Come down onto the forearms, line the pinkies up with the wide edge of the mat. Those hips are gonna stay super high. Bring the forehead down to the ground and bring the hips back just a little bit, puppy pose. Now, if puppy is not giving you the stretch through the shoulders that you were hoping for, go ahead and walk your hands to the top of the mat. Push your hips back just a little further and actually rest your chin on the mat as you look between your thumbs here. Extended puppy. We're gonna take 5 deep breaths here. No matter which version of puppy you pick, see if you can push your hips back just a little further. Keep them up nice and high. It's going to increase the curve of the back. Hang out here in a little bit deeper pose for 3 more deep breaths. From puppy, bring yourself forward onto the front body, onto the belly. Legs extend back behind you. Toes point in, heels point out. This is going to help protect that low back just a little bit. Bring your arms out wide like a T and plug those spidey fingers into the ground. Inhale the heart space up. Bhujangasana, Cobra. Can you lift your hands here? This is one of the ways we know we're using our core and not our arms. Exhale, lower down. 2 more, just like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Last one here. Inhale, lift. You know what I'm about to ask. Can you lift just a little higher? Oh, yeah, that's the good stuff. Exhale, lower down. We're going to walk one hand away from the body and plug those spidey fingers into the ground. Really activate the bicep tendon here. You do that by using the fingers to grip like you're hanging on for dear life. From here, we're going to roll over onto our sides. Our front hand is in front, supporting our body weight. Take that top foot and step back like you're trying to step on your hand. Hello, shoulders. Taking some deep breaths here. Now, if this stretch feels lovely, but you're like, back, I need to go deeper. I gotcha. Some of us are going to hang out just like this. Some of us are going to choose to come back onto the belly. Interlace the fingers behind the back and take that Kali Mudra, the Mudra of transformation. You're going to roll over onto the side once again and try to step back onto the hand that way. This is a much deeper stretch through the pecs and through the shoulder. Exhale, release, coming back onto the abdomen. The arm that you took it that's extended, go ahead and bend it at the elbow. Once again, plug those spidey fingers into the ground and roll up onto your side. This is a smaller movement, but deeper stretch. Your top foot may or may not touch the floor. It's going to depend on how open that shoulder joint is. Exhale, come back onto the belly. We're going to switch sides. Walk the opposite hand away from the body. Plug those spidey fingers into the ground. Roll up onto the side and try to step back like you're stepping on your hand. Once again, that option we took at the beginning is still available to you. So if this isn't giving you the stretch in your shoulder you were hoping for, go ahead and come back onto the belly. Interlace the fingers behind the back, taking that Kali Mudra, the Mudra of transformation. Roll up onto your side. Try not to break the aloe plant. And step back. Breathe in here. I think had I ever known that I was filming a yoga class in my house, I would have maybe designed it a little differently. Exhale, come back onto the belly. That same arm that's extended out to the side, bend it at the elbow, plug those spidey fingers into the ground, and roll up onto the side. This is a much smaller movement, but a much more intense stretch. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Coming back onto the belly, we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Push the knuckles below the glutes. Inhale, lift the heart space up. Locust. Now push through those knuckles and really open up the pecs and the shoulders here. Exhale, lower down, release the hands, turn the cheek to either side and moosh the hips, moosh, moosh, moosh. We're going to do that one more time here. Interlace the fingers behind the back, push those knuckles below the glutes, ground down the hips and the tops of the feet. Inhale the heart space up. Locust. Exhale, release. We're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders and glue those legs together. Push the hips back to meet the heels. Close child's pose, Balasana. Now, push the hips back so that the hips are touching the heels or as close as that is possible for you. And then lower the third eye down towards the ground. If the third eye doesn't touch the ground, no worries. Take your your fists and make yourself a little forehead pillow here. We're going to hang out here for 4 deep breaths. Walk both hands over to one side, lengthening that side body again. See if you can find just a little bit more length underneath that shoulder blade. One of the ways we can do that is taking this outside arm and bringing it on top instead of on the bottom. And walking the hands to the opposite side, lengthening that side body. Coming back to center. Drag the fingertips onto the ground, coming up into Hero's Pose. From Hero's Pose, we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back, push those knuckles below the glutes. Yogi's choice if you're taking the Kali Mudra or not. We're going to take the crown of the head, that part that was soft when we were all little, and place it as close to the knees as we physically can. From here, lift the hips, bring the hands with you, rabbit pose. Taking 5 deep breaths here. Exhale, release the hips back down towards the heels. Release the hands down to the mat. The back of the hands rest on the floor, palms face up. Really let those shoulder blades round here and make yourself into a little rock. Notice what it feels like to breathe here in a small ball. More importantly, notice what your head space starts to tell you as you try to breathe in a small ball. Dragging the back of the hands onto the ground, plant the palms, push yourself up, hero's pose. I'm gonna move my body to face the camera. You guys go ahead and stay just like you are. So from hero's pose, if being in this position is not comfortable on the ground, go ahead and grab a blanket and slip right under the legs. It won't make any difference in the actual alignment of the next few poses, but it will make a tremendous difference on your comfort, on your knees and shins. So from hero's pose, we're gonna inhale, circle sweep the arms up overhead. We're gonna reach for one wrist, pull up through that wrist, and then lean to the side. The trick here is to keep those sit bones glued to the ankle, to the heels as you pull through that top arm, really lengthening the entire side body here. Coming back to center, switching sides, reach for the opposite wrist, lift up and lean. Inhale, come back to center, release the arms, roll it out. Interlacing the fingers again at shoulder height, push those palms away, round the back. Really push the palms towards me now and see if you can release all the tension out of the neck. How are those wings feeling? Inhale, lift up, roll it out. So the next pose I call a bus stop pose. Many of you who have practiced with me for a few years know this one well, but we're gonna come into 2 different versions of eagle arms. And so I'm gonna walk you through the different versions and you just find the one that calls to you and hang out there. So my first option is opening those arms out wide like a T and giving yourself a great big bear hug. By giving yourself a bear hug, walk those fingertips back towards the scapula and then lift the elbows up. Check in here, how does that feel? If this is easy peasy lemon squeezy, go ahead and open those arms out wide like a T. Cross the elbows up front. Now this is the yogi trick here. Your elbows need to cross. If they don't, go back to bear hug because that is your appropriate alignment and you'll get the most benefit out of that. But if the elbows do cross, bend at the elbows and bring the back of the hands together. If you're like, Beck, I can hang out like this all day. Cool. Flip the palms. No matter which version of eagle you that calls to you, we're all going to lift up through the elbows as we keep those sit bones glued to the earth, or to our heels rather, and lean back just a little bit. Oh, there's the good stuff. 3 deep breaths here. Inhale, come back to center. Open up those arms out wide like a T. Reverse the cross, coming into your version of eagle arms on the opposite side. Hips stay glued to the heels. Push up through the fingertips and lean back. Inhale, lift up, uncross the arms, rolling out those shoulder blades. Hips are staying on the heels. Walk the hands forward. Arms extended, Balasana, child's pose. And walking those hands back underneath the shoulders, come back into hero's pose. From hero's pose, we're actually going to come up a little higher. There's not actually a name for this, but so you're on your shins, but you're on your knees. Yeah. We're going to warm up the back just a little bit, and then we'll cool it down. So you're going to bring the hands to the back like you're putting them in your jean pockets. Slip those hands down. Awesome. Hug your elbows together because there's no chicken wings in yoga. Lift up through the spine, really create that space, and then lean back just a little bit. You'll notice that my hips are still stacked over my knees. That's super important. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Listen to your backs. We haven't warmed them up very much here. Inhale, lift up. Sit back down onto the heels. Walk the hands forward, child's pose. So that is the warm up to camel. And in camel, it is very normal to feel like you can't breathe. I'm going to invite you to hang out there and see if you can breathe in the space. Often our instincts kick in and tell us that we're vulnerable because our throat space is open. Walking those hands back. And what I mean by that is we are mammals, right? And so our throat space is a super vulnerable place for us. So most of us and most animals don't walk around like this, right? You'll never see a wolf showing the world its throat chakra. It's kind of keeps it safe, right? That's because it's very, very vulnerable to attack. So when you go into camel, what happens is your body tells you you're under attack, you're super vulnerable. This is the magic. This is the sacred work of yoga. Mind over matter. So breathe into this space and notice how there really is oxygen available here. We're going to come back up onto the shins. Maybe you're going to hang out here in supported camel. Totally awesome option. Maybe you're going to take your version of eagle arms, whatever that is for you. Lift up through the elbows and come into camel that way. 4 deep breaths here. See if you can breathe. I promise you can. Inhale, lift up. Open the arms out wide like a T. Reverse the cross of the arms. Last hard pose here. If you're taking eagle, lift those elbows up and lean it back. 4 more deep breaths. Inhale, lift up. Release the arms, roll out the shoulders. Bring the hips back towards the heels. Bring those knees out super wide. Walk the hands forward. Balasana, child's pose. Walking those hands back. We're going to go ahead and have a seat any way that happens for you. Extend both legs out in front, flexing the feet. Pulling the flesh away from the sit bones. Really starting to make that contact. Drawing those toes back towards the face. Lift up super tall. Create the space in the spine. Hinge the hips, fold forward, flat back. Sink the sit bones down. Really let them connect as you open up that heart space. Do the Care Bear stare. Now, if the hands touch the toes with these, which is not the point of yoga, but if this is happening for you, go ahead and take your 2-piece fingers, hang on to your big toes, hug the elbows in together because there's no chicken wings in yoga, and pull the belly down towards the thighs. Now, we really want the belly on the thighs, not the nose to the knee. Breathe, breathe, breathe. See if you can fold just a little deeper. Inhale, lift up. We're going to stay in Paschimottanasana legs. You're going to take your version of eagle arms one last time on each side here. So coming into eagle arms on one side, whichever side you'd like to start with. We're going to push up through the elbows, lift up through the spine, and then hinge at the hips. Oh, that is the good stuff. Now you'll notice I can't go very far here. I'm working really hard not to round this part of the back. I'm trying to hinge at the hips so it looks more like that instead of like this. Yep. Feel the stretch in the hamstrings. Feel the stretch in the shoulders. Flexing the feet, really keeping those toes up. Oh, that's the good stuff. Inhale, lift up. We're going to switch sides. Open the arms out wide like a T. Reverse the cross of the arms. Lift up through the elbows. Once again, really anchor down both sit bones. Hinge at the hips, fold forward. Inhale, lift up, rolling out the shoulder blades. Beautiful. We're going to bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet together. Open up the feet like you were reading a book. Lift up tall through the spine. And then hinge at the hips, fold forward, Baddha Konasana. Does everybody's third eye touch the ground? Probably not. Go ahead and come into whatever your appropriate range of motion is. And again, I am creating the space out of the back, out of my hips, right? I'm coming from the hips. So instead of doing nose to toes, I'm doing belly to heels. Yeah? 4 more deep breaths here. Inhale, walk those hands back. We're going to extend both legs down the mat, plant the soles of the feet onto the ground. Go ahead and grab your strap and grab your block, have them close. With the soles of the feet onto the ground, we're going to engage the abs. So pull the belly button back towards the spine, just like you were putting on skinny jeans from the 80s. And start to roll it back slow and control. Pause here, hold. Inhale, bring it back up. Nice. 3 more, just like that. Exhale, start to roll it down and hold. Bringing it back up. Last one here. Inhale, lower down and hold. And lowering down just a little bit more and hold. Anybody's stomach trembling yet? Coming down just a little bit further. See if you can keep those shoulder blades off the ground. And bring it all the way down. Yes. Grabbing your strap. You bring the strap under the arch of one foot and lift that foot up towards the ceiling. Move, please. Your supporting leg can be bent or straight, whatever's best for your body here. Pushing the heel up towards the sky. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hanging on to the strap with the same hand as the extended leg. Open the leg out to the side, getting into the hip. Both hips and both shoulder blades are glued to the ground right now. Inhale the foot back to center. Transfer the strap in the opposite hand. Pull the toes back towards the face and then cross the foot across the midline. IT band stretch. Inhale, come back to center. We're gonna go ahead and switch sides. Bring the strap into the arch of the opposite foot. Lift the foot up towards the ceiling. Supporting leg can be straight or bent, whatever's best for your body. Lengthen, lengthen. And hanging on to the strap with the same hand as the extended leg. Open the leg out to the side, getting into that hip. Bringing the foot back to center, transfer the strap into the opposite hand. Pull the toes back towards the face and cross the foot across the midline. Coming back to center, we're gonna go ahead and release our straps. Open those arms out wide like a T again. Inhale the knees up to the chest. And then exhale, twist, drop those knees onto the floor or maybe onto a block if the floor is a long ways away from you. We want those knees nice and high, so right about belly button height or even higher. Some of us like to pull down like this, but this is actually harder on your back. So bring those knees up nice and high. Beautiful. Take that front hand, add a little weight to the top knee, and let your back shoulder really start to melt into the earth. You might start to feel a beautiful stretch through the lumbar area and through that shoulder joint. Breathing deeply, letting the breath do the work. Exhale, release the hand. We're going to bring the knees back to center. Exhale, twist the knees to the opposite side. Once again, right at belly button height. Take that front hand, add a little weight to the top knee, and let your back shoulder melt into the earth. Inhale the knees back to center. We're going to reach down for the pinky edge of the feet. Soles of the feet face the ceiling. Pull the knees back down into the armpits. There's a good possibility the knees are going to be on the outside of the elbows. Totally cool. Now ground down the hips, ground down the shoulder blades, and breathe in here. Happy baby. From happy baby, maybe straighten one leg, maybe straighten the other. Maybe start to rock side to side, giving yourself a little back massage. Maybe straighten both legs. Whatever's right for you. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Reach down for the ankles and give the legs a little bit of a squeeze here. Try to keep those hips glued to the earth. Exhale, release, planting the soles of the feet onto the ground. We're going to extend one leg down the length of the mat. Inhale the opposite knee up to the chest. Give that knee a big squeeze as you keep both hips glued to the floor. See if you can keep the shoulder blades on the ground at the same time. Lengthening through that lumbar area. Hanging onto your knee with your opposite hand, cross the arm across the leg, across the body. Ooh, body parts are hard. And open up this lumbar area just a little bit. Coming back to center, squeeze the knee to the chest one last time. And exhale, release the leg down the mat. Switching sides, bending the opposite knee, drawing it in towards the chest. Give that knee a big squeeze here. Keeping the hips and shoulders on the ground. Reaching for the opposite knee, cross the arm across the butt, cross the leg across the body. Coming into a baby twist here. Coming back to center. Give your knee a big squeeze. Exhale, straighten the leg down now. We're going to bring the feet out, bring the heels out as wide as the mat or wider. Let the toes start to point out, so maybe rock those legs 2 or 3 times. Walking the shoulder blades down the back, palms face up. Closing the eyes if that feels safe, and if that doesn't feel safe, just softening the gaze. Hanging out here, some deep belly breath, spinal resting pose, Savasana. Notice where the heels are connecting. Notice where the calves connect. Feel the hips connect. The shoulder blades. The back of the hands. The back of the head. And as you're laying here in rest, with eyes closed, start to notice the furthest sound that you can hear right now. No need to attach, no need to label. Just notice. And then bringing your awareness into the building you're in right now. What are some of the noises that you can hear in the building that you're in right now? Bringing your awareness in a little closer. What are some noises that you can hear just in the room you are occupying right now? Bringing your awareness just a little bit closer. What are the noises you can hear on your mat right now? And then bringing the awareness even closer. Can you tune out everything but just your heartbeat and your breath for the next 5 deep belly breaths? slowly start to deepen your breath and start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Bringing the arms up and over your head for a full body stretch, taking up as much room as you possibly can from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Rolling over onto one side, pausing there for just a moment. Bringing to mind one thing that you love about yourself. One thing that you're grateful for right now. And offering yourself a moment of gratitude for taking time to practice today. When you're ready, and only when you're ready, use your arms, push yourself up to a seated position with hands at Undulate Heart Center. Really pressing those thumbs into the sternum. And I leave you with these words from page 53 of this sheet book. There's a time for cord cutting, letting go, and breaking free. There's a time for shape shifting, evolving, and time machines. There's a time for forgiveness, being still, and empathy. There's a time for heart sewing, strength building, and surviving. There's a time for waking wild, moon bathing, and being messy. And there's a time for just letting you be you, and what will be, will be. I am so very grateful for the opportunity to practice with each and every one of you. I hope you leave here feeling just a skosh better than when you walked in. The light in me so very much honors the light in you. Namaste.